every state has a saying about wait 5 minutes and the weather will change.
But apparently that doesn't apply in this state. I'm soaking wet from a downpour that's lasted over 2 hours. For this part of the series, I ride 4 days across 5 states as I leave the Midwest and end up in New Mexico. I will be tested by severe weather conditions as it rains for most of the 1,200 miles and temperatures dip below freezing. Join me for this part of my solo ride in this adventure I call One Lap, One Way.
Well, it's beginning of day 3 and it's a lot warmer out than I thought. Got my heavy jacket on, but we had quite a bit of fog last night, so my bike is absolutely soaking wet. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, there we go. So yeah, the fog definitely came through. It's cleared off, got good visibility this morning, but I don't know how long I'm going to have this jacket on for. Definitely don't need the heated portion of it. So, but I'm going to try to wipe the bike down with a used t-shirt, I guess, and get out of here.
I'm so far away from home.
I had a 350-mile ride to get to my overnight destination. With a top speed of no more than 55 miles per hour, that meant I had an 8-hour ride ahead of me. The good thing is it was a beautiful day for riding, so I quickly jumped on Route 66 and headed towards Springfield, Missouri.
I'd lay a blanket full of stars to brighten up the darkness of our sleepless nights. I'd find a way to make you smile.
When I created the route, I had a strict gas station to gas station plan, but sometimes things happen spontaneously and you have to stop and check it out.
Okay, I had to stop by this place, the Uranus Fudge Factory in Sideshow Museum, and I'll tell you what, it's got Uranus City Jail, it's got a tattoo place, a saloon, and pretty much everything to entertain a kid that you could imagine. Uranus, Missouri. Look at this thing. This is pretty cool. It's got the Route 66 thing. I mean, these are the kind of things that were, you know, along Route 66 that made it so interesting. Got this double-decker bus with map along the side. Really, really cool stuff. Lots of entertaining items along here. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'm gonna jump back on the bike and get some miles in.
One of the best things about a road trip is all the surprises along the way. Some of them are good, and some of them are not so good. One of the things, as I was riding along, I had happen, and it happened several times along the way, is Google Maps is not aware when roads are closed. It had me on Route 66 and had me going down a road, and then all of a sudden I came up on a sign saying road closed. Road is closed. I thought, well, there's a gas station here. I'm going to go ahead and take a break. I'm going to take a look at the maps, and I'm going to try to figure out another route. Unfortunately, there were only 2 options. The first route involved jumping on the highway with a posted speed limit of 70 miles per hour. The other option was to take some questionable back roads that took me miles off my original route. With the fear of getting run over, I chose the latter. Again, Google Maps did not forewarn me about the conditions that lie ahead. And soon enough, the poorly maintained road turned to dirt. For over 10 miles, I had to navigate this rough road. In addition, Google Maps did not recognize the roads that I was on. So whenever there was a decision, I had to stop, open my phone, and make a logical guess which way to go. Eventually, I found a paved road, and Google Maps caught up. I was over an hour behind, but at least I was back on track. I had over 3 hours to make it to my overnight destination in Oklahoma. I wanted to get there before it got too dark, so I twisted the throttle and rode as hard as I could.
Hey, good morning. It's Saturday, day 4. I am exhausted today, but that's not unlike every other day so far. Today, I ride to Texas. Looks like I'm going to run into some weather, maybe midday or something like that. We'll just see how the day goes. I got to go fill up and then hit the road. I had a real fear of riding in the rain. I once crashed on wet roads and broke my collarbone. For this scooter, I equipped it with all-season tires, a move that would prove to be a smart decision later in my ride. And just like that, the weather changed. The temperature dropped by 20 degrees and it started pouring. So, I decided to take an early stop, dry off, change into my fall weather gear, and have a little something to eat. I started out with a sweatshirt feeling way too warm. Didn't have my gloves on this morning. It was like 75 degrees. I knew I was going to run into rain, so I put the jacket on. And I'll tell you what, this jacket is soaked now, and I'm glad I put it on because the other thing is the temperature has dropped tremendously. It's, in the 50s now, and I'm just outside of Oklahoma City, a very famous place called Pops. Bike soaking wet. Everything else stayed relatively dry. Take a break, warm up, and soldier on. Pops is not your average gas station. It's a destination. This unique location features glass walls decorated with thousands of soda bottles. Luckily, there was a restaurant inside, and I quickly took advantage of this as I allowed the weather to pass by. Afterwards, I suited up, jumped on the bike, and hit the road again.
If we hold tight, we can chase the Mississippi through the night, hundreds of miles away. The water is warm, let's dip our toes right in and be reborn. I don't know why we wait. Grab some glasses and the atlas, we can prove we're smarter than a phone.
Unfortunately, only an hour and a half into my ride, I ran into weather again. It was cold and it was downpouring, and it really tested my equipment. This rain went on for 2 hours as I passed through Oklahoma City. I am freezing cold. I've got like a swamp cooler coat on right now because as I'm going through this cold air, it's evaporating and dropping the temperature. It's electric, so I can turn on the electricity in the jacket, but I'm afraid because it's wet, it might electrocute me. So you have to make choices in life, and I choose to be cold, I guess. I'm hoping that, better weather is to come. So keep moving on.
If we hold tight, we can chase the Mississippi through the night, hundreds of miles away. The water is warm, let's dip our toes right in and be reborn. I don't know why we wait.
Luckily, the day was almost over. It was getting dark, but I only had about a dozen miles to go to make it to Texas. I was still cold and wet and definitely tired, so I looked forward to making it to the hotel that night to dry off and to get rest. I woke up on day 5 to cold and wet. It had poured throughout the night and visibility was poor in the morning. I was praying the rain was done and that clear skies were on the horizon.
Sunset Drive is quite alright.
It was wishful thinking.
But we can't stay here forever.
But it didn't matter because I was headed to a really cool destination. A destination that had been featured in music videos by both James Brown and the Sex Pistols. A destination that was in Pixar's animated series Cars and even had a 1996 film created bearing its name. I was on my way to see a true Texas landmark.
And I saw just west of Amarillo. See behind me, lots and lots of cars are parked along the side. They're all here to see something very unique, very unusual. It's still misty out and it's cold and miserable, and my boots are now covered in mud as I walk through this field. But it's a place that I never thought that I'd ever see, so I figured I gotta stop by and see. After my visit, I put on my wet gear, jumped on my scooter, and continued through the mist, fog, and rain. It was not a comfortable ride.
We stood in the moonlight, it's something sweet. Let it wash over all of me. With you I form my company.
This is getting tough. You know, it's nonstop rain or fog, or mist or whatever. I'm just getting tired of wiping this mist off my visor.
Falling open all the curtains wide. Not gonna miss it.
After riding continuously for 5 hours, I looked up in the sky and saw the clouds breaking apart and revealing the blue skies that I'd been waiting for the entire day. New Mexico was on the horizon, but not before a few surprises. Those cows were on the wrong side of the fence. All of a sudden, the road changed and gave way to a beautiful landscape. That gave me hope for the following day's ride. I'm in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, and rain came through because there was a cold front, and now it's freezing cold out. I've got my long johns on. I got heated socks on. I've got 2 more layers on top. I've got my rain pants on, even though it's not supposed to rain today, just as a windbreaker. And then I've got my heated gloves and my heated jacket. So I'm hoping that all this stuff keeps me warm today. I've got a long ride this first leg. It's about 150 miles, so I'm going to go over to the gas station, fill up the Rotopacks, fill up the main tank, and be on my way.
She's my believer, healing all my doubts. A lighted mirror, reflecting out every true potential. A bedrock belief, an elaborate plot to set this bird free. Every element is based, every color there's attached. She paints pictures blue and green, and I release them to the sea. For the ancient memories, just as fleeting as a breeze. She paints pictures blue and green, and I release them to the sea.
Alright, so I've stopped just real quick in Willard, New Mexico. Just a small town. No gas station here, so I'm going to go ahead and take all my gear off the back, get the Rotopacks out, fill up. 10-minute break is usually what it takes me to do all this, and then I'm back on the road. For most of the ride, gas stations were located within the normal range of the scooter, about 80 miles. However, I knew that was not going to be the case in the Southwest. Therefore, I equipped my scooter with a spare gas can, or Rotopacks. In all, I had to perform this dance 3 times during the trip, each time actually taking me about 20 minutes. Regardless, it was necessary if I wanted to make it across the country on a scooter. Once I was done filling up, I had put everything back where it belonged. Then when everything was secure, I could jump back on the scooter and head down the road. As you can see on my speedometer, I'm only going about 35 miles per hour. I'm about at 7,000 feet and my horsepower is way down. Luckily, this is one of my shortest days at only 240 miles. So I simply settled in and enjoyed the ride. Day 6 was complete, and I had made it across the entire state of New Mexico. The sun was out, and the scenery was absolutely beautiful. But the next days were about to change, with bad weather coming in again, routes being broken, and crazy drivers. So join me for part 3 of this adventure as I make my way across the United States to Las Vegas.